Hello and welcome on in. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's the number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. It's Wimbledon fortnight. I'm Nigel Seeley and I'm delighted to say joining me as per usual on a Tuesday, it's our senior ATP Tour handicapper who just spent the day yesterday at Wimbledon for day one. It is Sean Calvert. Sean, how was your day yesterday, mate?
Yeah, it was all right. Up and down, as you can imagine. I've got a few issues. Excuse me, but it's always nice to go to Wimbledon. You know, I've not been there for, I don't know, I can't even remember the last time I was there. It might have been about 10 years ago. Might have even been longer, I don't know. Nothing much changes there. It's nothing changes really. They do things very strangely there, don't they? I mean, I had the really good seats on centre court. You could probably tell from the photograph. I was really close, only a few rows back. I was right next to the press seats, ironically, which I would have got years ago, but not anymore. So it was a good view, but there's all sorts of weird stuff goes on at Wimbledon. It's the only tournament you ever go to where you get oohing and ahhing when players are doing points. Like you'll get a net cord and the whole crowd will go, ooh. You don't get that anywhere else. I don't know why they do it. It's not written on the tickets that you have to do it, but it's so strange. Oohing and ahhing. I don't get that.
It's a very upper class British thing, isn't it, Sean? Really?
Is that what it is?
It's ladies that go out for lunch from Surbiton. It's full of those kind of characters at Wimbledon, isn't it?
It is. For a lot of people, it's their, probably one time they'll go to Centre Court Wimbledon opening day. Obviously, my view was obstructed quite a few times by people taking selfies because I was right at the front, and I won't be at the front on Thursday, by the way. I'll be right at the back on Court 1. So there's people taking selfies and videos, and there's all sorts going on. No one knows where the seat is. People are tripping up the seats, spilling their pims everywhere. It's good, but I mean there are a lot of problems with it. The main problem is that you can't get on any of the outside courts unless you get there really early and stay there for the whole day and never leave to go to the toilet or anything like that. But if you just want to casually drop in on an outside court, you've got absolutely no chance unless it's a match nobody wants to watch, which isn't that likely at Wimbledon.
Yeah, I mean, but the weather was quite good yesterday. Today, not so good. Tomorrow, not so good either. But before we come on to the weather, the big breaking news today is Andy Murray has had to pull out of the tournament. And obviously, it's such a shame that probably, in my opinion, the greatest British sportsman of all time will not be able to play at Wimbledon again. He was going to play doubles with his brother, but in the singles event, it's such a shame. Your thoughts on Murray before we go on to the match?
Yeah, I had heard he was gonna pull out. Actually, I spoke to somebody yesterday that kind of knew what was going on, and they'd seen him practice and didn't look good at all. It's the right decision for him. If I was there at Queen's on the day that he played Jordan Thompson. He was hobbling around. You don't want to see that at Wimbledon. You want to remember Andy Murray for all the brilliant things he's done at Wimbledon. You don't want your memory of him to be, a guy that just through injuries just can't do what he was once able to do. It's the right decision to pull out. It is what it is. I mean, he's been obviously a fabulous player for Great Britain, over the years. But I'd rather he pulled out than was sort of 40% fit and was kind of hobbling about. That's for sure.
Yep. I echo Sean's thoughts there completely. It's a bit like me when people want me to come back and play charity matches in football.
Do you get many requests for that?
Around.
Do you get many requests?
I get many requests. I do get many. I do. I actually do. You wouldn't believe it. I do get quite. I'm telling you the truth, Sean. I wouldn't lie to you. I get requests to play in charity football matches most regularly, probably 2 a year, 3 a year, and I always say, listen, I'm busy that week. I'm at some tennis event, or I can't do. I've got a podcast to do. Just to get the people not have that memory of me hobbling around. I want that memory of me scoring 3 goals,
or missing them 2 penalties.
4 stone lighter than what I am. So yeah, that's the memory I want to.
Couldn't you just say you've retired?
Anyway,
wouldn't that be easy just to say?
I retired years ago.
But when they ask you, couldn't you just say, I don't play anymore? Wouldn't that be easier than?
No, but they'll say, can you come and there'll be usually a charity game is for someone who's not well, or someone who's like, there's been someone who's retired or something like that. So, but I literally can't run 10 yards, so I just come up with some other excuse. I don't want to go there and just being made a fool of by a 75-year-old man, which has happened to me before. I've been made look foolish by someone.
I'm not saying anything.
Just under the age of 80, so I've sort of come out of many excuses. Anyway, enough about that. Enough about legendary status at Andy Murray. I'm nowhere near legendary status, but at AFC Ewell Football Club, I was a legend. Anyway, let's move on to tomorrow's action. Wimbledon wouldn't be Wimbledon without a bit of rain delay. Today, the action has been stopped by rain. Lots of rain as well coming on. A lot of our bets are in play today. Yesterday, we had one bet that, on day one, we had one bet that didn't win for us. It was Bolt.
Lucky that.
In the first set. But he had so many opportunities to win set one. But we got Bellucci doing well. We got some matches in play today. So we don't really know how we're going to get on the first round. But overall, I think we're going to be heads in front, I reckon.
Bellucci's trying his best to ruin a perfectly good bet at the moment. He's in a fifth. He's in a fifth set against Shelton. He's only got to win 2 games in the final set. Got broken in the first game. He's 15-30 in his second service game. He's only got to win 2 games in the fifth set. He should be winning the match, really. His stats are miles better than Shelton's in this match, but he can't buy a first serve. He's serving at about 40% the whole match. He's not getting any first serves, but the scoreboard stopped. So I'm assuming it's raining again. That might.
Oh yeah. Yeah, rain around.
That might help him.
So we'll have to see too much. Anyway, let's not worry about it. Let's worry about tomorrow. Second round. These are matches that are available on Wednesday. And we've got some bets for you. We've got 4 matches we're going to discuss. 4 interesting matches as well. A bit of an Italian theme I can feel coming into this podcast here. A lot of some Mamma Mia. Who's going to win? Mamma Mia, Bellucci, what are you doing there? Anyway, let's go. That's my very good Italian accent, actually.
Not too bad.
I know it sounded a bit more Spanish or Indian or something like that, but I think I was trying to do well there. But anyway, the first match we're going to speak about is, I know he's one of your favourites, actually.
Yep.
One of the players that you like following around and you're really a big fan of him. If there was a Leon C. Fabio Fognini fan club, the chairman would definitely be Sean Calvert. He's up against Casper Ruud, who you watched firsthand yesterday. Casper Ruud is minus 530 to beat Fognini, plus 360 for Fognini. The spread is 6.5 here, minus 127 Fognini receiving 6.5. Even money for Casper Ruud giving up 6.5, and the total here is 36.5. We opposed Ruud last time out, and I think we'll come on. You're probably going to break that match down in your analysis. You were courtside watching that game. How we didn't cash that ticket, I don't know. But this one here is a very commanding head-to-head record for Ruud. He leads 3-0 in the head-to-heads, and he's never ever lost a set to Fognini. There is some rain forecast for tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to change the way of thinking here. A little bit of showers like today, but Casper Ruud, I mean, we've mentioned his grass court record in the first round preview. He come through against Bolt yesterday, but minus 530 here against Fognini. He was playing quite well on the grass at the moment.
He's playing great, and he's underrated on the grass, Fabio. It's about motivation for him at this stage of his career. He's talked about not wanting to play these smaller tournaments, and you can see why. He loves the big stage, loves the big tournaments. Says it motivates him. He played great against Van Ascher. Van Ascher was a substitute, wasn't he, for Kopfer? So he had prepared for a lefty, had to play a righty. I have heard that Casper Ruud was hitting with some good intensity at Wimbledon in the warm-up days, but he had a parasite, didn't he? From some unclean water, which is bound to be from Paris, I would imagine. It was from Paris, that's where he was, wasn't it? All-time grass at main level, Fabio's got a better win rate, 52% compared to 46%. He's got a better win percentage here at Wimbledon. Fabio, 57% compared to 43% for Ruud. Ruud's wins here have been against Laurent Lecoli, Albert Ramos and Alex Bolt. Those are the only matches he's won at Wimbledon. And he's lost to Isner, Thompson, Humbert and Liam Brody. So, Ruud's stats are slightly better on grass, but they're from a very, very small sample size. Fabio's been playing well on grass for a long time now. I think the key stat in this match is that Fabio Fognini's won more than 15.5 games in 14 of his last 16 matches at Wimbledon. Now that includes some really good players as well. Only twice has he failed to do it. Once was against Andy Murray, when Murray was world number 1, and he won 14 games. And the other one, weirdly, was against Tennis Sangdram when he lost a middle set tiebreak, and he got a bit angry after that, I think. But so a vast majority of the time, he's covered more than 15.5 player games, which is the line here. The set one overs is quite interesting as well. Fognini, 5 of his last 9 opening sets at Wimbledon, gone over 10.5 games. Casper Ruud, 3 of his last 6. So over 10.5 is interesting as well. Bet Rivers at plus 225. But I do like this over 15.5 player games for Fognini. I think I would expect Casper Ruud perhaps to be too strong in the end, but I feel like this is going to be a really competitive one. Fabio's playing great. We know Ruud is well down on his stats on grass when he plays on grass compared to when he plays on clay and even on hard courts. The stats are nowhere near for Casper Ruud that they are on the clay. So a motivated Fognini, as I said, wins 14 of his last 16 Wimbledon matches over 15.5 games. I think that's definitely the play here with Bet Rivers. 1.84, I think it is.
Yep, 1.84, so it's minus 120. 6 a.m. start for Fognini, Casper Ruud. Fognini will also have a huge amount of support as well from the Italian fan base, and also a lot of neutrals will be supporting the Italian here in potentially what will be his last Wimbledon tournament. So a big upside for him. I opposed him actually in where did he play the other week? Where did he play in the build up to this? I opposed him.
He was at Mallorca.
Played in Valva. I opposed him against Brauver, and he played really, really well.
He does play well on grass. It's a myth that he can't play on grass. He's got a good game for grass. His serve's very underrated as well. If his shoulder's all right, which it often isn't, if his shoulder's all right, he can serve. His serve it does a lot of damage. He's underrated on grass. It depends what mood he's in, but I would imagine he'd be motivated for this. It's going to be a tough match for Casper. It's got long match written all over it. Hopefully Fabio's fitness will hold up. He always has injury problems at this stage of his career, but I think on his best form, he's certainly in with a shot here.
36 different markets available currently with Bet Rivers, including that bet there that Sean has advised over on Fognini total games. The match, well, we don't know the order of play yet, but the play starts at 6 a.m. So it's a very, very early start. As I keep mentioning to you, make sure you get your bets on with Bet Rivers before tomorrow morning, because you'll oversleep or do something stupid and you won't be able to get the bet on. So get the bet on now. Head across to the Bet Rivers app and place your bets. Sean will be again in attendance at Wimbledon. You're heading there on Thursday, aren't you, Sean?
Yeah, weather looks all right for Thursday, but the weather said it was going to be fine here today, but that was a lie. So who knows? It's changeable weather, but yeah, I'm on court 1 on Thursday. I don't know who's going to be playing, but yep. I'll be there in the back row somewhere.
Court 1 on Thursday. Make sure you follow us on our Instagram page at Because We Win, and also on Twitter at Because We Win. Sean will be giving some exclusive picks, providing he can find an internet connection.
You know where the best internet connection is? At Wimbledon.
Where is it?
I don't really want to give my trade secrets away, but it's next to the bins.
By the press.
It's by the bins. By where the little food court thing. It's quite incredible. You can get nothing. I mean, I was on court 3. I could barely get a message through to you, could I? I couldn't even get...
No.
Nothing was... I had zero. There was no internet. You don't expect the Wi-Fi to be working there, but just the normal cellular signal, nothing. It was so bad. But if you come out of the food court, they do like the sandwiches and stuff. Come out there, there's like a table cum bin just outside there. You can get like 70 meg there.
You're standing by the bins.
Yeah, stand by. You got to stand by the bins. Yeah, basically. So that's
Sean. Do you know? So I was there the day after England reached the final of the European Championships. What was it, 3 years ago? Okay. And I did a couple of live streams there. And I did an interview for American television there. There's no problem at all, the internet.
It depends where you're standing. On the actual,
I wasn't standing by the bins.
No, but I'm saying is on the courts themselves. The internet's dreadful. It's non-existent. But if you stand in the right place, as I said, but this place by the bins, you get 70 meg. I could stream. I could do a live stream from there, no problem. But it just depends where you stood. It's obviously a big.
You're our man on court. We want to see the beautiful surroundings.
I can't really do that.
We don't want you standing by a bins at a food court doing a live stream, do we?
Take it or leave it. That's the best I can do. I can take the photographs from the court, obviously, but I can't do anything with them until I leave the court and stand by the bins.
Until you stand by the bins. Okay, well, if you want to stand, see Sean by the bins with the trash cans all around him, follow across on the Instagram page at Because We Win. It'd be very interesting to see him by the bins there.
I'll take a photo on Thursday and show you.
Yeah, show us it. If you go to Wimbledon this week or the All England Tennis Cup, stand by those bins. That's where you'll get the best internet connection, and you'll see our man Sean Calvert there, just loitering
It's not bad
around
in the food
dustbins.
court as well. One occasion I did it. I pretended to be queuing up for food because obviously it takes ages, and I was just sending stuff because I had a good connection in there. And then I left the queue when I got to the front because people might have looked a bit weird doing that, but these are the things you have to do at tournaments just to get decent Wi-Fi.
I can't imagine you paying Wimbledon food court prices.
You know how much a fish finger sandwich was there? Yes, I did. How much a fish finger sandwich was there yesterday?
14
exactly
quid.
right, 14. £13.80 to be precise. Yeah, it wasn't.
That's cheap by US
It
Open
wasn't even
standards.
warm though
That's
either. It was
cheap.
like a lukewarm couple of fish fingers in a questionable sort of brioche bun, and it had pickle in it. I had to take the pickles out. I can't be doing with that
Why don't you go through the bins and see if anyone left any?
because you can't get in them. It's one of those
You
ones with a little hole. So once you put something in, it disappears. You can't. You know, a child couldn't.
You
even
would
get
look
in there.
really bad trying to get a fish finger sandwich out of the bin while you're trying to do a live stream. Anyway, let's move on. Nakashima against Jordan Thompson is our next match for discussion. Brandon Nakashima is a favourite here with Bet Rivers at -155. Jordan Thompson +123. Spread 1.5. -124 for Nakashima giving up. The 1.5, Jordan Thompson +1.5 is -104. Totals very high in this one, 41.5. If we look at the head-to-head between the two, they've met many times before. 6 times in total, 4 wins for Nakashima, 2 for Thompson. Thompson won last time they met at Wimbledon in an epic 5-setter, where he come back from 2 sets to love down, and he come back from a similar kind of position yesterday against Cazaux, where he was really, really struggling, and he managed to come through from 2 sets to love down in an epic match. Now, that match is obviously one of the reasons why that the price is the price it is. It was a long match for Cazaux, where Nakashima had a much more easier task against Sebastian Baez. I know you've been quite keen on Thompson throughout the grass court season. Grass court is his time of year. But Nakashima's a heavy favourite here. Do you think that match against Cazaux have taken it out on the Aussie?
Possibly. These next 3 that I'm talking about are all with the angle towards tie breaks. Actually, this particular one, it's got tie breaks written all over it. All 5 of their meetings have featured a tie break, all on hard courts, 1 on grass. 3 of their last 4 have gone over 10.5 games in set 1, and you can see why if you look at their head-to-head. 32% of return points won by Nakashima. Thompson, slightly worse, 31% of return points won. So very serve dominant. First serve points won Nakashima 75%, Thompson 78%. So they're very strong behind their first serve. Don't win hardly any return points or nowhere near enough. Given that the career series has also been really, really close in terms of service points won and return points won totals, 101-99 in favour of Nakashima over 5 matches makes it wafer thin. It's been a very, very tight career series. So the bet I quite like here is over 1.5 tie breaks. That's a 2.95 plus 195 chance of Bet Rivers. We're assuming it's going to go long. All their matches have. We know that it's serve dominant. We know they don't win many return points. So it's kind of an obvious play, really. It's a big price one. If you are betting in this match, I think that's where the value lies. Over 1.5 tie breaks, plus 195 at Bet Rivers.
Yeah, over 1.5 tie breaks, plus 195. Sean, just on the tie breaks, I know the data hasn't come through, but you were there watching Wimbledon yesterday. Do you think it's a little quicker than you thought, or do you think it's about what we expect?
Yeah, it doesn't look particularly quick to me. It looks about the same as usual. A little bit of rain, maybe slightly slicker. It's always, I feel, a bit slicker and lower bounce in the first few days anyway. So if you are back in tie breaks, that's potentially the way to do it. It gets sort of hot. The grass gets harder and bounces higher. Potentially that might mean it comes through a bit quicker, but a lot of players prefer that height. Most players these days, they're not used to this low bouncing ball on the grass. So generally speaking, you get more tie breaks kind of earlier on. So that's kind of why I'm looking at these today. Plus the matchups that we're talking about now and in a few minutes as well. They all look like they're going to be serve dominant.
Yep. A big day for serve domination. Also a big day if you head across the Bet Rivers website, you get the offer Wimbledon offer. It wouldn't be a Grand Slam without an offer from Bet Rivers, and Bet Rivers is offering a Wimbledon live bet insurance all tournament long. Each day, Bet Rivers will insure your first Wimbledon in-play bet of the day and give you up to 50% of your bet back in bonuses if your bet loses. Terms and conditions apply. So go ahead across to the Bet Rivers app for full details before you bet. So Bet Rivers is offering a Wimbledon live bet insurance, so you can get up to 50% back on your bet. Check across to the website and the app for all the further details on that one. Okay, let's move on to our penultimate match. Cazaux against Bublik, two very interesting tennis characters. Bublik minus 265. He's got a real genuine chance here of going deep in this tournament, Alexander Bublik. He's done well on grass before. He's up against Arthur Cazaux at plus 205. It's going to be an entertaining match for anybody who's watching this one. Remember, it's 6 a.m. start, so head across the Bet Rivers website to get these bets on early. Spread is 5.5, minus 175 for Cazaux. Receiving 5.5. Bublik is plus 125, giving up the 5.5. 38.5 is the total. Minus 107 for under, minus 118 for over. I think one thing we've got to realise for Bublik is the order of play. We've got to see what time this match is started. If it's an early start, Bublik could potentially be a fade. We don't know yet, but he is a player who's very, 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 very comfortable on grass. Arthur Cazaux probably isn't. He's only won one from his 4 matches this year, and Bublik has done well on the grass before. He's a heavy favourite here, Bublik, but can we trust him? I know the bet probably is going about the games or the service or the tie breaks, but Bublik is a heavy favourite here, but I don't think he'd be carrying any of my money.
No, I mean, I wouldn't be backing Bublik at odds on at any occasion, really. It also looks like one for tiebreaks. I was tempted to back Cazaux against who's he playing the first time? Bergs in the first round, but there was no statistical basis to back it up. It was just a sort of feeling I had, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. In the end, it turns out Cazaux found his game on grass, just at the right time for him, really. And, he held serve 100% of the time against Bergs over 4.5 hours and 5 sets, winning 82% of first serve points. So another impressive serving showing from Cazaux. Bublik also won a very similar amount, 83% of his first serve points against Mensik. He had to come from behind again. He was 2 sets down, I think, in that match, wasn't he? Had to come back and win it in 5. Two very strong servers. Cazaux at main level in the last 12 months, he's shown numerous times how impressive he is on serve. If we take clay out of the equation, I'm not sure he's played much on clay anyway, 90% holds of serve, Cazaux, at main level, which is very impressive, but only wins 33.5% of return points. Again, we're seeing this profile of guys, big serving, just not able to do much on return. And Bublik, as a general rule of thumb, that the recent stats in the last 12 months anyway, hold serve 90% of the time on this surface. I'd be slightly concerned about backing Cazaux on the basis that he could be fatigued after that epic match against Bergs. But again, the set 1 overs, 10.5 games, 2.95. That looks good value to me. These two guys, both serving at 90%, holding at 90% approximately. It just leans that way to me. I think that's a good price. A lot of these matches, the one we're going to come on to in a minute, you'll notice that the price is a lot shorter about set 1 overs. But here, you're getting almost 2-1 about over 10.5 games. That definitely looks a value for me.
Yeah, both players have come through epic 5-setters. Cazaux against Bublik, they'll probably give it all for the set number 1, and then fatigue may come in later in the game. Remember, obviously, if you bet in play, that offer with Bet Rivers giving you up to 50% bonus in your bet back. So this could be an in-play angle for that match as well between Cazaux and Bublik. And our final match is this could be a Wimbledon final, couldn't it? It's amazing. This is a round 2 match. It's an all-Italian affair between Jannik Sinner and Matteo Berrettini. Jannik Sinner is the number 1 seed here. He's on a 6-0 run on the grass after winning Halle. He dropped the set against Hanford, which was a bit of a surprise, but he come through fairly comfortable in the end. Berrettini come through a minimum fuss against Fucsovic, But this is a real blockbuster of a second round match. And Bet Rivers have Sinner here, the favourite, which you wouldn't, is no surprise, but minus 530 against Berrettini at plus 360. The spread here is 5.5. Berrettini plus 5.5 is minus 148. Sinner minus 5.5 is plus 115. The total is 39.5, very evenly matched with over minus 109 and under minus 117. If Berrettini is fit, which is a big question mark if he can go 5 sets. We know the problems he's got here. Plus 5.5 to me looks an absolutely great bet. But I would expect to be tight in the first set. And then I think they'll pay enough respect for each other in the first set. And then as the game goes on, you would, but you could question both of their sort of fitness levels and both of their things going deep into a 5 set here. So this is a real big match, isn't it? I mean, Berrettini, arguably he's probably in the top 5 glass court players. He is the top 5 glass players in the world, and his fitness is the big question mark about this match.
Yeah, it is. I've put this in because I think this is the round 2 match that everyone wants to see. I can't imagine that any other match having the interest that this one does. Not yet, anyway. And you would expect Berrettini to present a very strong test to Sinner, and you've hit the nail on the head there. If he's fit, which we're not sure he is. There is a worry, isn't there, about Berrettini's back. He had a problem with it yesterday against Fuchs. I think he had to go off for a medical timeout. I was obviously on a different court. But as I understand it, he had to go off and have a medical timeout, and it seemed to be the case that he was kind of underpowered when he came back. He was either not able to produce or was just protecting that back slightly, and then he got better. In the 4th set, maybe the painkillers had kicked in. I don't know exactly what happened there, but that would worry me about backing Berrettini on a sort of handicap over the length of the match, over the course of maybe 4, maybe 5 sets. Because if you look at the all-time grass records, there's very little in it. Sinner, service points 110 points, 107. Berrettini, 106. And their service hold and break totals are exactly the same, 109. That's all time. You could certainly argue that Sinner has been better recently, so I've looked at that as well. Last 12 months, Sinner, a distinct improvement. Not all those stats were bad by any means. They were very good, but now they're great. Service points 110 points, one total of 112, and service hold and break total of 115. So a distinct uptick in Sinner's grass court stats. Berrettini still decent, 103. Total on service points 1 and return points 1, and his service hold and break total is 108. And in the last 12 months, both of these guys, this is perhaps the most important stat, both of these guys in the last 12 months on grass, they hold serve 94% of the time. So you can see why over 10.5 in set 1 here is plus 132 as opposed to plus 195.
I still think that's a bet, I think that's the bet at plus 132. We saw matches last week. I know the conditions were quite bad, but we weren't much quicker. But we were seeing matches at like plus 110, even money for over 10.5 over in Stuttgart before. I know it's a lot quicker surface, but these two guys are a little bit different. And given the fact that both of them, we've said so many times, Sinner going deep in a 5-setter, we want to fade him. Berrettini going deep, we're not convinced by him. But in set number 1, these two players are going to go at it, pay a lot of respect for each other. Not going to really go through the motions just to see how we go. I still think plus 132 is a bet.
This is what I've put in as the lean. Yeah, I'm just not wild. I'm perhaps being a bit greedy about the price, as you just said there. It is still highly likely, isn't it? They both hold serve 94% of the time on the surface. Sinner wasn't. I didn't see that much of the Sinner match, but it doesn't sound like he was particularly great in his opening match against Jannik Hanfmann. And it's not a surprise. The first round, it's not easy for anybody. Rublev's dropped the first set today to Comensano. Hurkacz dropped the first set to Albot. Thankfully, looks like he's turning it around. I'm not sure I could have coped with another ridiculous Wimbledon round 1 exit. Like we had 2 last year, didn't we? So happy with that. Happy that Hurkacz has turned that around. But that's a great example. You would, if you're looking at these matches, you Rublev against Comensano on grass, Hurkacz against Albot on grass. You wouldn't expect there to be too many problems, but they both dropped the opening set. It shows you how difficult it is to adapt into a new tournament. Yes, they've been playing on grass, but it's not the same Wimbledon as Halle and and Stuttgart and Queens and all the rest of it. It's still a new tournament, new conditions. So, given those stats, 94% holds both guys, it is kind of an obvious play, isn't it? Over 10.5, you get him a decent chunk of plus money, 2.32. That's where I'll go there. It's not going to be an official pick for me because I can see more value in one or two of the others. But if you are betting in that match, and I think a lot of people will want to watch it and bet on it, I think that's got to be the way you have to go. I just don't trust Berrettini over the course of 5 sets if he is carrying yet another injury, which, he has got that back problem. How serious it is, I have absolutely no idea. But I'm not sure I trust him over the course of the full match.
I think, but that's why I think the first set plus 132 is a nice bet. I mean, if you knew Berrettini was fit, the proper fit, you would be like even money, wouldn't you? Over 10.5 in set number 1 here. But I wouldn't trust him over 5 sets, as you say. But I do think that that's a great lean. I will be betting that. I'll be betting over 10.5 in this match first set anyway. So that's it.
Good news for.
I'm just about to say that. I'm just about to come on to that. Bellucci's covered, which is good news for us. That makes up for our loss. We've still got 2 more bets, I think it is, to come. So we're doing all right on there. So that sort of eats into the profit, which is a little bit negative at the moment, 6.28 units throughout the year so far. So a little bit behind. Rory's plus 4.25. So across the 2 channels, we're about level. And also the big news while we've been on there is Von Drusifer, the women's Wimbledon champion, has gone out in round 1. She was a very, very heavy favourite. She's gone out in round 1, and that's opened up the draw again in the women's section as well. So Novak Djokovic has come on court. He's absolutely heavily strapped up on his knee. I mean, anything can happen in this match as well. That's another interesting match as well. But we'll come on to that.
For some reason, the
BBC
have got Paul Jubb against Seyboth Wimbledon. So.
Oh, we switch channels. Get on the Novak Djokovic.
I will in a minute.
That's it. So remember to download the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, on your preferred podcast provider. Subscribe to Betting Weekly Studios, and I keep saying this every time we come on. I'm blown away with the amount of new subscribers we have across this and on the Euro 2024 action, the soccer action as well. A huge amount of new subscribers, loads of comments as well. Any comments for myself or Sean, please give them in the comment box below. We're happy to answer any questions you have on the show, or any betting advice, or any tips you want to ask. Really, really happy to that. I'm really encouraged by the amount of people who are subscribing. So thank you very much for that. Head across to Bet Rivers. As I say, there's a whole host of markets. Not only these matches, there's 32 different men's matches available for tomorrow when the play comes along, and there'll be 38 different markets available on those matches as well. So you will not get a better tennis betting offering than you will get with Bet Rivers. And if you are at Wimbledon on Thursday, make sure you head across to the bins. Sean Calvert will be there looking for half-eaten fish finger sandwiches and trying to get a better internet connection to provide you for our YouTube, for our socials at Because We Win on Twitter and on Instagram. That's been it for today. Good luck with your wagers. Sean, just give us a little recap on your best bets, your official picks for day 3 and the second round of the Wimbledon Championship.
Yes, I'm taking Fabio Fognini to win over 15.5 games against Casper Ruud, 1.84. And the second one, Bublik, what could possibly go wrong? Over 10.5 games in set 1 of Bublik against Cazaux at 2.95 plus 195 Bet Rivers.
That's it. They're our best bets. We'll be back again tomorrow looking at the what half? We'll be looking at the bottom half of the second round of the draw. Will Djokovic be in there? Head across to Bet Rivers. We'll find out again. But we'll get some more bets, more action. We'll have you covered here across the next fortnight for Wimbledon 2024, as well as Euro 2024, where the action reaches the quarterfinals. Make sure you subscribe. Betting Weekly Studios, YouTube, all the rest of your bets. Sean, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care and speak again tomorrow.